Happy Wednesday, Run Drive Bike community, and welcome to our Fiery Embers show. Now, this is a show that's not about tips, tricks, and plans to get you fitter, stronger, or faster. But if it happens, it was a mistake, and I apologize to you in advance. Now, this show is here to provide some laughs and some levity within training and racing by having a chat with everyday athletes about absurd and interesting things, such as what is the last meal you would eat before blasting off to Mars with Matt Damon? Now, we've had some interesting answers, and I can't wait to ask our guest. Today, I'm going to be joined by Ryan Sheehy, whose Instagram says that he is a married father to two, who is a three-time ultra marathon finisher and is here to root you on during your health journey. He's also a certified nutrition coach, so our food conversation should be amazingly hilarious, and is a writer for the premier voice of the everyday athlete. Oh, that's us at Run Dry Bike. How about that? So without further ado, let's bring Ryan onto the show and let's have some fun. Hey, Ryan, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So the very first question that I presented in the introduction was, what is the last meal you are going to have before blasting off into outer space? And before you answer, I will tell you that the best response we have gotten to date has been from Jennifer Comfort, who has been on our show twice. The first time she said wheat thins, and the second time she said animal crackers. And so
Right. There we go.
Good luck in beating that response.
Well, with a last name like Comfort, that sounds like comfort food right there. I mean, that's right on. That's right on. Man. Well, since it's with Matt Damon, you know what? It's got to be apples, right?
Yeah, how about them apples?
How do you like them apples? You know, it's got to be just a ton of apples.
just any variety or cooked in any way, raw apples, apple pie.
Let's do all of it. Let's just do apples in every way. Like every way you can do apple fries, apple pie. We'll do some fresh apple, maybe a caramel apple. I don't know. Like let's just like completely
dip it in butter, dip it in peanut butter.
At the end of the day, we will say we don't like them apples.
No kidding at that point.
We are done on apples. Yeah.
All right, dude. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I like it. My daughter's all about that game. I get why people are afraid of it. I think they're wrong. I just think they're wrong.
You do know I'm a native New Yorker, right? Like,
listen, I get it. I know it's sacrilege where you come from. I'm just like, hey, you know what? If broccoli can be on pizza, why not pineapple?
No, broccoli can't be on pizza either. Like, why are we putting that on there? You can eat steamed broccoli with a steak or something. By all means, do it. But don't put it on pizza either. Like,
listen,
plain
someone gets some enjoyment. If someone gets some enjoyment out of it, let it be.
All right. So I have a theory about pineapple on pizza. Let's see if it works with you. Pineapple on pizza by itself, or does it have to be accompanied by like jalapenos, Canadian bacon, ham, something?
It's got to have something savory or with a kick to it for sure. Yeah, it can't be by itself. No one's putting pineapple on a pizza by itself.
Right. So this proves my point. When I ask people if they like pineapple on pizza, they almost always say yes, but it has to have X, Y, and Z, which goes to my point, which is you don't actually like pineapple on pizza. You actually like it in this combination of multiple other things.
On pizza, though, like I'm not going out and having I'm not having pineapple and pepperoni. Like that's not a thing I'm doing on the daily. It has to be on a pizza if I'm going to do that. So like to me, I think it's the whole ensemble of it. And I think it's fine. I think it's kosher.
You could also have ham with pineapple and be fine without having the sauce and the bread and the cheese, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Listen, if people want to do it, if people are all about it, go for it. Like
what is your favorite topping on pizza?
Man, it's been so long since I've had pizza. I really like that like combination of like a hot, spicy, like a jalapeno, but fresh jalapeno, not pickled.
Yeah.
With like some mushrooms and black olives.
Oh, that's a good combination. That's a really good combination. Do you put hot sauce on? Would you put hot sauce on your pizza to replace the jalapenos if they're like, this is pickled?
No, I love hot sauce, but not on pizza. Doesn't need to go on pizza.
You're based out of Texas, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to for like a post-run recovery? If you're going to eat out, right? You're out on the road or you're on a trail somewhere and you're not at home cooking in your kitchen. Where are you going and what are you getting after your run?
I'm probably going to so we got like Torchy's tacos
Yeah.
here. So
Yep.
Torchy's great. I'm actually gonna go get like a bowl of just a ton of rice. They do a really great Mexican style rice and some of their refried beans, and then throw that with some of their fajita chicken. Perfect.
It's 9 a.m. on the West Coast, and anybody who's watching this live is literally drooling for this now. They're like, okay, can lunch get here, or can I substitute my breakfast banana and whatever with one of these bowls right now?
Go get it, man. Yeah, that's no, Torchy's is where it's at. Sometimes I'll do Chipotle too if I'm in a pinch. It's got everything I want and it's all right there. But yeah, it's typically like that Tex-Mex vibe for whatever
You tr-
reason.
you do travel a lot for work, correct?
I do. Yeah, I travel quite a
So,
bit.
what's the best meal you've ever had while traveling for work?
Man, I've been to some swanky places for work. So, uh we went to New York. I think is Beauty and Essex, Fifth and Essex,
Yes,
or something like
yes,
that. Yeah,
yes.
really great meal. Just
Did you go
really
in and it
great
has
meal.
like that little back door? Like you walk in and it looks like it's an antique shop or like a place where you would just buy stuff and you go through the back door and go down. It's pretty neat, right?
Yeah, it's really nice out there. And then and we've got some really great restaurants here in Austin. So like I love we've got some really great tapas places and
Mhm.
like just unique eating experiences. For me, it's not about like the quality of the food is going to come with a unique eating experience. So like and I like unique combinations too. So there, we have a place here called Odd Duck, which is exactly as the name would describe. And it's just got these like different things. Like it's the only place I've ever had deep fried fish head. I
Oh,
would have never
interesting.
never would have guessed I'd enjoy that. But when it's done right and it's presented in a unique way, why not? So
I'm
yeah,
I'm so down for tapas. It's like such a cool way to eat and enjoy the people that you're eating with because you're all sharing like all these little small plates. There's a
yep,
joint in New York City. Next time you go, it's called Ella's. It's up on like 72nd and Amsterdam, on the west side. It's called Ella's, and it's a tapas joint. And it's really, really good too. So next time you're up there,
yeah.
check that place out. All right. So now we've asked you about the best. What's been one of the worst meals? You don't have to name the place, but you've been like, man, this is not. I'm not coming back here. Where was it? Let's put it that way. You don't have to name the restaurant.
Man, see, I'm weird because I like I don't know. Maybe it's like that Midwest, like you know, nothing bad happens kind of like vibe. But like you could drag me through the mud and I'd be like, all right, this is okay. It's a little cold. All right, fine. It's they're just having a bad day. Like I'd make excuses for them. I don't know, man. I don't know if
I
I've got an answer for you because I don't like nothing's like sticking out where it's like, oh, I hated that place. I'm never going back.
There's a place in North Carolina that I went to, and they had a Cuban sandwich on the menu, and it was horrendous. It was
Ah,
so bad. Like they could have 9 other things on the menu that are fantastic, but I'll never know about it because planted in my head was this was terrible, and I can only imagine that everything else is that bad too.
yeah, I've never had that. Like maybe I'm lucky, or maybe I'm just super naive or something. I don't know. I've never had that experience
Yeah,
where
like
I'm
I'm
like,
with you. Like I love food. Like I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Somebody worked hard for it, right? So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. But that's how bad this was. I
how
was
bad
like,
it was.
yeah.
Oh,
All right, dude.
yeah,
You have to run 1 mile. What
yeah.
setting are you choosing? A track, a 1 mile loop, or 1 mile vertical up the side of a mountain?
Are we trying to PR? Like, what's the
You put the setting in there. You have to run 1 mile.
man? Probably a loop. I mean, I'll do a track. Like if I'm trying to go PR, it's got to be on the track. I mean, I just set my PR not on a track, and I'll tell you, like I'm pretty sure I lost 15 seconds because it wasn't on the track.
Right.
Uh, yeah, but there's something more enjoy. Track is just. Eh. I'm not going vertical. I don't want to die on the mile. I don't want to. I'm already dying enough on the mile. I don't want to die even more on the mile.
Yeah, but the view at the top is gonna be
Oh,
outstanding.
For sure, but that doesn't mean I want to go do the Manitou incline, for fun. Like I know there's people that do that on the regular. For me, that's like I'll go do it once and then I'm done. I don't need to do it anymore.
It's interesting you bring that up, the Manitou Incline, because I've been looking at the Broken Arrow Sky Race, and they have
Okay.
a VK there. And it's one of those races that I'm like, I really want to do that. And I was perusing your YouTube account, and you have a video up on YouTube about the top 5 races that you want to do. And oddly enough, or maybe not so odd, I've either raced or paced at 3 of those. I've raced Black Canyon, I've raced Western States, and I have paced at Leadville. UTMB and Wasatch are events that I have not participated at. But that is a very different list, right? Every one of those events is very different from the other. Like, why those 3? Why those 5 races? 5 races, I should say.
It's a great question. So I think I came into the ultra running world because I read Born to Run, and I think the aura of Leadville just like caught my eye. And listen, it's been done by every influencer, I feel like, at this point. And maybe that helps like kind of put some persona around the event. But it's just like one that's always been a draw to me. You're right there in the valley. You've got the collegiates, you've got Elbert, you got Massive. You're like right there. And there's just something really beautiful about that locale. That's really interesting to me. For Western, it's the granddaddy of them all. Like it's the premier mountain ultra race, 100-mile ultra race in the US. And so it's always done well. It's a challenging course. It's beautiful though. And it's just really unique, right? You're going from Tahoe, you're basically going into the Sacramento, Central California Valley. And I don't know, that's my penultimate. Like I go and do that, I'm super pumped.
So you know Rocky Raccoon because you're in Texas. So I raced Rocky Raccoon 5 times just to get my tickets. Because I was local to the area. I lived in the area in Dallas. And so I just got my tickets to get in, and I got into Western States, and the pomp and circumstance of it all is warranted. There's no doubt about it. But I'll tell you a funny story. I was with my pacer. We start descending back down towards No Hands Bridge. And as we're descending, I look back at him because I'm in front of him, and I'm like, Greg, why the fuck are we going downhill, dude? Like, this race doesn't end at the bottom of in the valley. Like, does that mean we have to climb back up? And he's like, yep. And so you cross over No Hands Bridge and you go back up towards Roby Point. And dude, I am just angry at this point because you've done all of this climbing, and it's like, why? I just want to be done. I'm tired. My legs are killing me. I think I finished that in just under 27 hours. I'm like, I've been out here for 26 plus hours. Like, let's get this over with. And that last section climbing up to Roby Point might be the worst. And not because it was the hardest, but because you're mentally fatigued and you're mentally ready to be done. But if you get in,
I've heard that climb up to Roby is tough. And I definitely expect it. For sure. I have Tejas Trails, which puts on Rocky. They're great. Chris McWaters is the owner of Tejas, just a great individual, great person, and just a great, well-run organization. I did Bandera, the 100K. That will be my first entry race into the Western States Lottery. Another really great race. Texas is weird. For a lot of reasons.
Period.
Weird state, but over 90% of the land is actually privately owned. So we have 0 point-to-point races and 0 massive loop races. So everything that we do is on a looped course. Rocky's a 5-loop, 20-mile loop course, which you would think logistically it makes the race easier. You know where you're going to be, and you know when you're roughly when you're going to be there, and you can have everything stocked.
Yep.
Mentally, it is the worst thing in the world. It is just the worst way to run a race because you get through like 3 or 4 and you're like, oh, I don't want to do another one of these. I just don't.
The reality at that race is it starts at mile 60, plain and simple. When you get to the 100K mark after the 3rd loop, you're like, okay, I've done 100K. And then you go, oh shit, I got 40 more miles to go. I've got 2 more loops of this nonsense, right?
Oh, terrible.
It is hard in that sense. Like it doesn't have a lot of elevation. It's similar to Javelina, which is coming
Good
up
plan.
here this
Yeah.
weekend in Arizona, in that it's the 20-mile loop. It doesn't have a boatload of elevation gain, but
A
it's
lot
that
of
repetitive nature, man. And you're like, holy mother of pearl, I got to do this like another one time, another 2 times.
its challenge is that, and it's got a lot of ankle breakers. It's got those
Yes,
rough roots all over the place, and they blend in, and it's hard to see. We've got. I actually think the flattest 100-miler
it's
trail is
awful.
also here in Texas. It's the Brazos Bend
It's
100,
awful. It's
and that one
awful.
I've heard terrible things because you go out hard. Like you're just when it's that flat, you're gonna go out faster than you think you think, and it's gonna happen.
I've raced 800 milers. I've done Cocodona, numerous other ultras. The race that I felt the worst after was Brazos Bend, and I paced it. I didn't run the whole thing. I did 37 miles of pacing, and I was in so much soreness for like a week after that because it was awful. Like because it's so flat. There's nothing to it.
There's a reason why people like Killian can go run like the Alps and do all these crazy things and break record times, but then he gets hurt and has to go to the hospital running on a track,
Yeah.
trying to break the 100-mile record. Like there's a reason why it is much harder on the body. That repetitive motion injury
Hmm.
thing actually comes into play, and it's just it is. But the Bandera race is a great one. It is
Fantastic.
only 2 laps for
Hmm.
100K, and it is, it's probably the longest lapped race that we have, two 30-mile laps to 31-mile laps. So I love that race. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
going to
And
do
big
it
shout out.
January. Yeah.
Awesome. It's awesome. I've run it once, and I've paced it 2 or 3 times. It's a great course. It's and
Texas
to
Hill
your
Country.
point,
Yeah.
it's two loops. The I will never forget this. I was pacing a friend, and there's a moment in there where you come through this big field and you get to an aid station. I really can't remember the name. And then when you leave that aid station, you come around and you go into this section that every year that I've been a part of that race, it is brutally cold and brutally windy. I don't know what it is about that setting in that specific area, but man, you have to be prepared for it. And one year, the athlete I was pacing, Allie Miller, she's like, I didn't bring gloves. Do you have gloves? And I did. And in my head, I was like, I'm not giving them to you, lady. Like, that's on you for forgetting. But,
Good luck.
again, I'm the pacer. And it's like, here you
Got to get
go.
out.
You're the athlete. You're the one who has to get through this. But I was like,
Yeah.
it's awful.
It
But
is.
I want
It
to give
is
a
a
shout out to Chris McWaters and Tejas Trails because he is fantastic. I'll be seeing him next month at TRE, and I can't wait to catch up with him and talk to him. But he does a great job since he took over Rocky from Joe and Bandera as well, and has put on just phenomenal races and continues to grow the sport in Texas with new events on a consistent basis too.
Yeah, he's done great. He's also spawned off. So PJ Izaguirre, who was the race director for a lot of these races, he just spawned off and took the Captain Carl series over under him. Like it's really cool to see how the race is progressing in Texas because it's a really unique racing community because again, all of the private land makes for a lot of race day challenges and course challenges. So you're seeing a lot of consolidation, like Trail Racing Over Texas, which runs
Mm-hmm.
Brazos Bend, they consolidated a little bit, and then Rogue Trail Series, I think, consolidated with Trail Racing Over Texas or something wild. But now you're seeing all of these, or no, it was Trail Routes and Trail Series are now starting to consolidate. So it's starting to kind of take even a bigger shape. But I think Tejas is what kicked that off because
Yeah.
they've done such a good job really kind of progressing the sport here in the state, and it's grown
Yeah,
quite a
and you
bit.
guys also have Blaze Trails in the Dallas area, North Texas area that are
And
putting on
Outlaw
great
and
races.
Texas Outlaw is another
Yep.
good one too. And then you've also got Ultra Expeditions, which is a unique one where they go all over the state and do these really unique expedition races and stuff. So it is a pretty interesting state. I have yet to run an ultra outside of Texas because one, I mean, I've got a young family, so I have to find stuff that's easily accessible to me. But two, like there's so many good ones. There's just
Yeah.
so many good opportunities for races here in the state that I don't have to. Now I want to, which is why all of my list, everything's outside of there. But yeah, it's a unique community out here for sure.
I'll be remiss if I don't give a shout out to Joe Harden, who is watching us live right now and has commented to you. And he said, "My guy Ryan." So shout
Love
out
it.
to Joe. Tomorrow he'll be hosting his podcast right here on the Run Try Bike Everyday Athlete Podcast Network called Beyond the Finish Line, and we'll be talking about DNFs. He was kind enough to invite the owner of the company, me, to participate in the conversation. So it'd be cool. Hey, we've been talking about ultras, so we need to talk about ultra food, ultra running food.
Yeah.
Oreos, Nutter Butter, Fig Newton, or Chips Ahoy. Only one can be eaten for the rest of your life. What are you going with?
Yeah, if those are my options, it's probably going to be Oreos. It's probably going to be Oreos.
The OG Oreo, double stuff Oreo.
Oh, it's got to be double stuff. The best part's the filling. The best part's yeah.
So are you a twist and scrape?
Yeah, I'm a twist and scrape. I'm also about efficiency. So it's like however I can get the full sleeve like in my mouth and consume the fastest. That's
We asked this question.
that's the most. Shove them in. There we go. We're good. Yeah.
We ask this question all the time, and people they'll be scrapers, they'll be dunkers, they'll be everything, and then they'll ask me, "How do you eat it?" And I'm like aspirin, like I'm just popping them in my mouth, like I don't want to do anything but eat them.
I just want to eat them. They're gone. The same thing with Fig Newtons too. Like by the sleeve, they're gone. Who's eating two? Who's eating two? I know the serving size is two, but like who's really eating two? No one.
So
I'm eating a whole package.
Yes. So speaking of package, the Oreo package comes with like that cellophane top that you peel back, right? And there's 3 rows. Where do you go?
Yeah.
Are you going into the middle and grabbing as many as you can? Are you getting into the hard areas first to pull those out? And then this way you have the middle access easy for the end?
No, I told you it's all about efficiency. You take the easy accessible ones first, and now you've created some space for the ones that are like on the edges to get in, and you can kind of like even move it around a little bit, kind of like you're panning for gold, but you're panning for Oreos. You know, you're panning for Oreos there. Absolutely, no. You take out the middle so you get to the hard ones easier.
Dude, you've just touched on my heart and made me smile because I love Gold Rush, and Fred and Juan, they have their show Mine Rescue. Like I have been known to be up to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Fridays watching these gold shows, and they don't ever change. Like there's nothing new about them. They're just panning for gold, and one week they'll find all the gold, and the next week they'll find no gold. But nothing's ever any different. And here I am, 3 o'clock in the morning, watching these damn shows. Man, I love them.
Those types of shows get me every time. For me, it's always been like Swamp People, right? Where they're like out there, and it's all the same show. Like it's all the same show. It's just like instead of gold, it's gators.
Right.
Parking wars or storage wars was another one. Like sometimes they get a cool thing when they find this like 1960s rare collectible, and other times it's just a bunch of ladies' old socks, and you just never know what you're gonna get. But it's funny. It's like okay, storage, gold, gators, and yet we're all watching. It's the same thing. We're watching the same show.
Have you watched the show Forged in the Fire?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so
they're doing like metallurgical work, and they're
making swords and knives.
Yeah,
and it's like
Ink Masters.
Yes,
but yeah, okay, yeah.
Like I will never make a knife, right? And yet here I am glued to this show as if I know what they're talking about, right? 3 episodes in, I'm like, oh, dude, you can't have cracks in the knife. Like that's terrible. It's gonna shatter all over the place.
Well, it's like MasterChef, right? Like you're watching it and you're like, I'm never gonna make a foam, a lemon reduction foam that I then blow smoke into to make a bubble. Like I'm never gonna do that. And it's not like I don't know. I can barely cook rice. Like, yeah, I'm not. What am I gonna
That's
do with
why you
that?
buy like the bag 90 seconds in the microwave, dude. It comes out perfect every time.
Every time, every time, oldie but a goodie.
I posted this morning on Threads my guilty pleasure when it comes to movies, which is Shooter.
I
And
saw that.
really,
Yeah.
any Mark Wahlberg movie. Like I could watch just about any Mark Wahlberg movie repeatedly. What's your guilty pleasure movie that you watch that your friends are like, what?
So I got young kids. Most of my films revolve around young kid type of films, but then I end up like liking them and watching them without my kids. For me, it's Lego Movie 2.
Okay.
Not the first one, the second one. Hands down, the best Lego movie of them all. But yeah, I love that. I love it. It's got so many great names and characters in it, and it's just silly. Like it's just super silly, and but there's always this like good underlying meaning behind it, and because it's Will Ferrell and all of those other
Yeah.
folks, there's just like this witty humor to it. But most people are like, "What? You want to watch?" Even my own kids are like, "What? You want to watch Lego Movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to watch Lego Movie."
Awesome. So we're running out of time here. So let me get this question. And I'm a huge baseball fan and I'm a
Okay.
huge Mets fan. And they were just eliminated from the playoffs by the Dodgers. But regardless, you know how they introduce players as they come up to bat and they have their
The
music
walkout
playing?
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your walk-up song that when you get into Western states and you're walking up to that start line and they're now introducing ultra runner Ryan Sheehy? What's playing in the background?
So I am a total 90s kid, and my go-to favorite genre of music of all time, still love it today, is ska music. Yeah, we're talking about Oreos and Chips Ahoy and stuff. And ska music, for those that don't know, ska music is the music that plays in a 12-year-old's brain when he's going to the pantry to go and get Oreos. And uh and that is it. So for me, um it's probably something by Real Big Fish. It's probably like Sell Out or Beer by Real Big Fish, which is just like I love me some Real Big Fish. So yeah,
Hey,
it's probably something by them.
hey, Joe Harden, if you're still watching, and if not, I'll text you. Make sure you add these songs to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network playlist on Spotify. Um, I've been asked this question in return multiple times. And originally, I would always say Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys because I'm a New Yorker at heart. And then I watched, as the Mets season came to an end, I saw a video of Edwin Diaz's entrance to Citi Field. And he comes into a song called Narco by Timmy Trumpet. And it hits so hard as he's
Yeah.
walking in. And my goodness, I can only imagine like the chills and the energy and the adrenaline rush I would get if they were like, now stepping up to the starting line, Jason Bahamundi, and that song is pumping in the background. So I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Narco by Timmy Trumpets as my walk-up song.
It's a great song. I mean, for me, you can always go like you can't go wrong with like "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster," like
Yes.
something like that, where you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna knock this thing right out of the park here.
I see you're swinging lefty. Are you a left-handed hitter then?
It's the inverse. I think it's the inversion of the camera. No, I'm swinging righty. Yeah,
gotcha. I was like,
yeah.
oh wow, we got a lefty, we got a southpaw on the show.
I do write and eat lefty. I also shoot pool lefty, but I throw, bat, golf, shoot a gun, all of the kick righty. Believe it or not.
You wear your watch on your right wrist then? Is that what I'm seeing?
Do. That's it. Yeah, this is the right wrist. So because I write lefty, I keep it on the right wrist.
Oh man. Hey Ryan, thank you so much for coming on this Fiery Ember show. I had a blast. Yeah. We did have some laughs. We did actually talk running. You promised me that we would end up talking running. So kudos to you for
yeah.
For those of you who want more of Ryan Sheehy, make sure you visit runtrimag.com. He's got his first article on there, came out about a week ago, and he'll be writing for us with some really in-depth, inspiring, motivating, and heartwarming and touching stories as we move forward. Really appreciate your time, Ryan, and really appreciate you do for the running community and for the Run Tri Bike community.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it, man.
We'll see you soon, brother.
Take care.